Hello everyone and welcome to our I Pick My Butt video, more Survivor.io, and chapter 46. Kept on hearing everybody saying how difficult this was, what a paywall it was, and how hard it is to get through it. So today we're making a video on it because I didn't really find it too difficult with this little trick that I'm doing. Now we're going to go through every little step of the way here, so it is going to be a longer video, and this is my first chapter completion video, so if you want to see more of these, let me know in the comment. Now up to 2 days ago, I was still on chapter 34 and I said to myself, Pick, why don't you beat the game? And when I say beat the game, I mean beat chapter 50. Get all the way up through it. I'm not talking about doing trials and getting everything to legend. Actually, right now, all my gear is still at epic. And one of the big things I did was I switched over to the light chaser, and I'm going to continue light chaser all the way to 50. Now you could probably use other wave style weapons on this. I just found that the light chaser, I have it. It has a high attack on it. And currently we're sitting at about 9,200 attack, just a smidgen over it, but still under 10,000. And one of the big reasons why I like to use it is there is the fire breathing kind of dragon things, and the blue ones can be pretty tanky on it. I find this is a good way to just kind of get rid of them. It has the range, it has the spread on it, so it really does well. Now you don't necessarily need to get this thing evoed, but it does help out if you get a couple of light chasers in the beginning. Getting the star level up definitely helps out the waves and kind of controls them a little better. Actually, my first time playing this using the technique, I didn't even evo the light chaser. I think I only had 4 of the actual stars on it and made it all the way to the 15 mark. Another piece of gear we want to use is the Eternal suit. Everybody pretty much should have this right now if you did the 7-day challenge. I think it was day 5. It was pretty easy to get, but having that extra revive at full is definitely a huge help in this. I don't think I actually died in this one at all. I could be wrong, maybe towards the end, but it is nice just to kind of have that safety net too. The other thing you want to put on is the stylish belt. You see my little bubble around me there? Yes, that's going to be another huge one to just kind of keep us alive when we need to get into that 13-14 minute mark. And the last one is the Eternal Boots. This isn't necessarily needed, but the big reason why I'm using it is that base movement speed +2. We're going to be grabbing the running shoes in this, you know, the one that works with the soccer ball. If you don't have the Eternal shoes, or the Eternal Boots I should say, you're going to need to try to upgrade those running shoes a little bit more inside the game. But having the Eternal Boots and that +2 the speed movement definitely is a good starting help. The other thing, which I'm hoping all of you have by now if you're already on chapter 46, if you're not, you definitely need to go spend some time on trials, but that's a Zealot. That's going to allow you to gain 2% invincibility when taking lethal damage. In other words, the second you're about to die, you're going to get invincible, and 2 seconds worth. It's enough to get you to escape some terrible things. As far as the skills inside the game, there's a few of them that I really am trying to focus to get. You can see the first one there, it's going to be the drones. All my tech parts I have at excellent, so I have those bonus stats which allow those drones to get the homing on it. It's definitely a key thing. The drones definitely OP inside the game. You heard me mention the running shoes too. That's something that's going to really help you out. It might not be needed, but believe me, once you see towards the end, it's definitely going to save you. And then the other one I'm really trying to focus on is getting the energy cube, the thing that does the cooldown on it. That's going to allow us to attack faster, allow our abilities to come out faster. And that really works well with the light chaser. Now I want to take a little sidetrack here. You see the guys in the red, the little weird looking octopus things? I don't know what you would call them, but they're shooting out purple poison balls. Those balls are going to hit where you're standing. If you get in direct line with them, they're going to go right over you. So really the game is just take a couple of steps, stop, take a couple steps, stop. That's all I'm really doing, and I never get hit by those things. It took me a little bit to figure that out when I was just getting hit over and over because I like to stand still a lot. But really, just a little keynote to take in there. That's probably the worst that you're going to run into at this point until we come to that about 5 minute mark where you're going to get those blue fire breathing dragons. That'll be your first sign of them there. Now the way I'm kind of playing right now is I'm just trying to kill every single enemy. I'm not really too focused on getting all the shards or gems, where we want to call them. But eventually I do want to try to find a magnet and kind of just hang out around that till right before that 5 minute mark so I can really take in as much skills as I can. The other thing you're probably seeing too is there's a lot of food on the ground. We are trying to leave that food there as long as possible. Don't even try to accidentally pick it up. You want to just try to stay away from those. Yes, there is a time or two where I do grab it on accident, as I tell you not to grab it, but do the best you can to leave that food just hanging out because we're going to need that later on in the game, or it's at least nice to kind of have sitting there in case we do need it. So really my main priorities here for grabbing skills is I'm trying to get that light chaser evoed up if I can, grab as many of those, then I'm more focused on the drones. And then from there, if I could have, which I didn't this one, I really would have liked to get the lightning emitter. That definitely does help with the bosses. The bosses tend to have a good amount of health on them. The first 2 bosses are not terrible once you get the drone there just kind of attacking away, but it does help having that lightning emitter. It definitely does a solid good number to the bosses. So other than that, I mean, you see me getting the Guardian. The thought process was, is if I do get stuck, the knockback on it would be kind of helpful. Along with the bricks too, I wanted to have that kind of piercing effect. But realistically, I was grabbing everything from the drill, I was grabbing rockets, I was testing things out. This was probably my 4th or 5th time playing this chapter when I finally completed it. Now, once we get past the 10-minute mark, that's going to be where I'm going to try to grab some attack ups. And as far as Evo and stuff, like I said, the only thing I'm really worried about Evoing is the actual drones and the light chaser. I could care less about anything else, yet if I see the opportunity to Evo something, I might end up grabbing it. The other thing I was trying to do too, or at least a couple of times I played this, is I would try to save the chest from the elites or even the bosses when I knew that, okay, I had 5 light chasers, I had my vest, this thing's ready to Evo, because when you grab the chest from killing a boss or an elite, it's going to pretty much guarantee you're going to get the evolution from it. Everybody should probably know that by now, but if you don't, I just told you so you can thank me later on it. Now, if I can too, I will try to grab a bunch of vests. I do believe that having that minus 10% damage reduction is a big help. But first boss here, we're just going to run circles around him. It's all it really is. He will eventually throw out kind of like an elite. You don't have to kill it at all. Once you kill him, he's going to just drop that elite with him. But you see, I'm just going around in circles, just kind of keeping a little bit of distance where I don't bump into him, and then also making sure I'm safe from having those projectiles coming out. The blue little laser balls, whatever you want to call them. From here, this is where it starts getting a little bit tricky if you're not being safe. And definitely what you want to do is constantly keep on repositioning yourself, because this is going to be where those blue little fire things come out. And you can see they're pretty tanky, so they don't drop right away. I'm always trying to get underneath on them on this because I do have the brick, so I'm just trying to get that hit with it. But you can see I'm just kind of going as one of the ones gets close on the side. I'm going to either back down to the bottom and then just kind of go and just get a straight shot up again, or I might even run around to the top and then just kind of blast down. But these guys will stick around for a little bit. They're pretty much going to be the biggest problem that you run into, and occasionally as I do see them getting close, I will run, pick up whatever yellows I'm seeing just because it's a good time to get them, and eventually they'll cool down and it's like, okay, I can kill them all, and then you can start cleaning up all your yellows and just start putting it wherever you want it to. But I think realistically, these blue dragon things are going to last for, I think it's about 2 minutes. So we're going to have it all the way up to that 7-minute mark. And these hamsters, they can be kind of annoying if you don't have enough attack behind them. It seems like after you hit them, they just kind of stand still for a second and they just kind of get in the way. So be cautious with it. That is another reason why I like to have that stylish belt there, just to make sure that, hey, you know, we're killing 200 enemies pretty easy. If you run into one, you're not taking a good chunk of damage, because it does seem like they hit pretty decent. I think probably about maybe 6 hits from one of those things will definitely drop me good, and then I'll have to revive. But just be careful. Like I said, reposition. The other thing I kind of do inside the game that I focus on is when you see the gunners, you know, they shoot the bullets at you. I'm always kind of watching to see where those bullets are. And the second I see one kind of getting close to me, I will sit and aim my direction towards them just to wipe them out. That's when I'm just kind of camping in the middle and those little red things aren't launching out at me. But you can see we're just kind of saying, hey, okay, they're getting a little close. I'm going to move down 4 or 5 steps, get another straight shot again, and eventually they all pretty much drop. I think it probably runs till maybe like about like 7:20 before I kill them all. But it definitely seems like at that 7-minute mark is when they stop. And like I said too, this is a good spot to get some good currency out of it, because they do drop either blues or golds. From this point on, it's just kind of, okay, these guys are all kind of weak. Once I collect all those blue and golds, then it's going to be on a hunt for trying to find a magnet. Once I see that, I can just kind of camp out. I'm not going to run around and grab every single green one that I can, but if I do happen to go over some, I'm not going to complain too much. But it really just gets kind of annoying with how slow it does take it to kind of fill up that meter with those green ones, that I just say, hey, let me find a magnet. I'll sit there. Right before the boss comes out, I'll go collect that magnet, and we'll just get those 4 or 5, hopefully 4 or 5 abilities to level up on. But you can see so far, this really isn't anything to panic about. I mean, everybody says how difficult this was. The first 13 minutes in this are incredibly easy, in my opinion, at least using the light chaser. I haven't tried any other weapons with it. Like I said, this is the 4th try, and I've only done with the light chaser. But there we go. We got the destroyer. That's going to be a huge help against the bosses. And now we kind of got that slot all freed up. Like I said, I would have loved to have been able to grab the lightning emitter, but I think I said, you know what, I got the shoes, let me just go and grab the soccer ball here. Probably could have refreshed on it and saw what I was going to get, but at the end of the day, there's nothing wrong with the soccer ball. I have grown to like that. It definitely does help having that plus 30% attack damage with the actual tech part thrown on there. So we're just going to kind of creep this through here, and I think it's either at the 8.5 minute or maybe it might even be the 9-minute mark, but we're going to have the big fire-breathing dragon come out, and he has a pretty good long range on the fire breath itself, so it could definitely be intimidating. You can spend quite amount of time. I think it was like 30 seconds it took me when I was trying to run away from him. Just go and get a shot in, run like 10 steps, turn around, get another shot in, run our 10 steps. Eventually I found out it's a lot easier. We got the destroyer, even with just having drones. If you don't have it, just run circles around the dude. With having the speed from the shoes and the eternal boots, we can pretty much just run circles right around him. Like I said, took me about 30 seconds if I was going running. Watch how fast we drop him. I think it's right here at the 9-minute mark. I can't keep track of when these elites pop out, but there he is right there. I mean, that's a good decent amount of fire, and just watch. We're gonna run around, and within like a split second, that drone just totally destroys them. That's 10 times better than me having just run away and play that game. So luckily we got an attack out of that. This is actually a good time to start grabbing it. It's not really needed for the second boss, but once that, I think it's 11-minute mark that comes out, that's where I go and say, okay, we got to make some changes, and that's where we're going to use my patented I pick my butt technique, which I stole from Zelda. So just be prepared. You'll probably know what I'm talking about when you see it there. Now you see that I'm just standing still here. We're not running around anymore, and there's really no good in-game reason for that. I actually had to use the bathroom. So I went and I took my phone, I put on a little toilet paper holder, or you know what people put behind their toilets, holds the towels, everything else, the soap. Well, that was my reasoning behind it. I said, you know what? I don't want to pause the game. I can kind of keep an eye on it. If I see trouble coming in, I can go and use the single finger to just go and hit that pause button on it. But that was really the reason why we're standing still at the moment. And just a little pro gamer move out there for you girls playing the game. If you sit down facing the toilet, well, then you got a nice little spot for your arms to sit and put your elbows on, and you can play the game right there while you sit. But obviously, if you have one of those towel holder things, that's going to get in the way. Now, the Horrific Captain here, we're going to run circles around, but if he does do the swing thing, just run in one direction straight. He's going to have the big boom, and there's going to be 6 little spots that pop up too. You're pretty much guaranteed to just stay away from it if you keep on running. Nothing too difficult. Once again, having the internal boots, having some speed boost from the running chute is going to help you on that. If you don't have it, you might get caught in that. But like I said, pretty much easy. We ran around in circles, and we're good to go. Now, we're going to get hit with some butterflies here for about a minute, and then from here, at that 11-minute mark, I believe it is, well, at least once you start seeing those blue dragons come in, this is where you really got to build up the courage and say, okay, where am I going to go? But we're just going to try to kill a bunch of these as we can. We're going to still leave the food out there, and we're just going to try to collect whatever last little pieces of gold that we can. So if you see them, really try to run over to them and grab them. The nice thing about the Eternal Boots is that will cause that poison to go away if you just carefully step into it a little bit. You'll see me kind of just doing like a little pulse, kind of, I don't know, like a stutter step you'd call it, and you see the poison go away. So that's a nice, easy way to grab those gold pieces without getting hit by the poison. But right now, I'm trying to see if I can get any last chances at getting some attack boost, which we didn't get them. And here we come, 10:40, couple more seconds. And like I said, the second we see those blue fire breath come out, we're going to look for a spot where you might only see 1 or 2 of them, and we're going to try to run right through them. We're just going to try to find like a breakaway opening. That's where the whole, be invincible if you take a fatal hit on it. This is why we're leaving the actual pieces of food around. You saw it, we got through that pretty easily there. It wasn't too bad. And now we're playing the game of just the Zelda way. If anybody played the original Zelda, there used to be this thing where you could go and unlock a secret area. I think it was, you go up, left, down, left, and that's all it was. But we're just going to keep on going through, finding that straightaway on it, and we're just gonna say, okay, once we get to the point where there's a clearing, then we're gonna hang left or we're gonna hang right, whatever the way to go. Eventually, it's gonna end up being that there's gonna be a bunch of snakes that pop out. And the way to go through it is look wherever the snakes are. If you see a big bundle of them, that's pretty much going to be where your opening is. This is why I'm talking about the shoes right here. We just barely sneaked through that. It definitely does take some maneuver. It might take you a couple of times to get used to it, but we're just kind of running through and just finding that open area. There's nothing wrong with running in this game. There's nothing that says you can't do it, but you see how there's always an opening every time. Now, we should hopefully be seeing some snakes right now. There they are, and you can see the big groups of them. It's pretty much a guaranteed way to say, okay, I know this is going to be a safe spot. And we can pretty much do this up to that 14-30 minute mark there. After that, it gets a little bit sketchy. It's kind of like, okay, I just need to find a nice big giant opening. Hopefully I'll have a spot to run away on there. And there will also be kind of that moment of that last 5 seconds where the mobs stop coming out at you. So we're just going to kind of camp it out here. And a lot of it, there'll be a point where you got to be careful, because this guy right here, if you're not paying attention, he runs at you pretty fast and he will drop you. That's usually a go away on the first life on it. But luckily, we have a pretty decent clearing here for a second, so we're just going to grab these attack boosts. Looks like we got a magnet too out of it. So just filling up. If I can, I will drop them. I'm not really too worried about killing these guys. So it looks like we're pretty clear on it, so we'll grab that one. I don't exactly remember if I killed that fire-breathing dragon one, but be careful. We just killed one hamster. There's going to be another one that pops out pretty soon on us too, so it's definitely makes it a little bit more crazy, the fact that we have a couple of these elites and 2 of them are fast-moving ones. But you can see we're getting a little bit boxed in here again. We don't have too many of the blue fire-breathing ones around. Right there, another one we're just going to break through. The thing is, you're playing football and you're the running back and you just got to get through on the thing. But really, just a matter of kind of just dodging and running up. Don't be scared to circle around too. You know, you break away, you go around. Don't feel like you have to run around the other direction. It is always nice to kind of just get everything grouped up in a big giant circle. It seems like there can only be a certain amount of enemies on the screen, so it definitely makes it easier. Once again, snakes again, free giveaway to go through, and we're just working our way. So really, I don't know if you guys call this as a cheating or even just a cheesy move to go through, but it works. I mean, I give kudos to anybody that wants to sit there and just kind of camp out and get surrounded by those guys. I don't know, maybe you're using Molotov, Guardian, you're using whatever you can, soccer ball. But for me, it just seemed like it was a risk I wasn't willing to take. So I said, you know what, I'm just going to go running for it. So here we are, 14-minute mark coming up. And now it's like, okay, we're definitely going to start noticing that it gets a little bit more intense. So once again, we're going to blast through here. And do we die here? No, we're still good on it. Got lucked out. Like I said, great reason to leave all that food sitting around. And if you see some boxes, don't be scared to go over it and try to pick it up. Just be careful. Keep an eye on the opening at all times. You can really see, though, like I said, why the shoes really matter, because it definitely does funnel down on you. I don't know, it's like the parting of the Red Sea almost, but it looks like we actually did die there. The Eternal suit kicked in there, got us our full revive. And you can see we got a pretty decent opening here. This is kind of where I was like, okay, do I camp here for a second and just wait out those last 20, 30 seconds? But it seems like we got a pretty good opening. So I feel safe on this. It does kind of barrel down towards those last couple of seconds out. But like I said, 14:55, that's where they're going to go. Boss incoming, and they're going to stop. So I kind of said, I'm going to stay. And it says, nope, we're safe here. And you could see how close we are from getting mauled by all these things. So here we are, final boss. This one can be a little bit trickier because he is tanky. He is going to have a couple of different moves on it. That is one of them there. There is the one like that right there. That's the one that usually hits me. Somehow I stayed alive in this. The other one's just going to be kind of a simple charge where it's going to be explosion around him. But you can see I'm just trying to keep close enough where I can just get the drones to kind of hit him. But I don't know if anybody else has any issues with Raging Bull. Probably one of my least favorite bosses to go up against, but for some reason, I guess I just had a lucky day and we got good at it. But realistically, this is how I beat it, guys. It wasn't anything too terrible at all. Yeah, I guess you could say we died once on it, which seems doable for me. So realistically, you probably could get away without using the Eternal Vest, but like I said, everybody has it. Why not use it? So other than that, really curious to know what you guys think. Have you beaten this? Are you stuck on this? What's your attack that you're going in at it? Like I said, we're about 9,200, a little bit over and some change, but this is it, guys. So if you found this helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, join the Discord if you haven't already, and remember, I pick my butt.